all of that. Hey!
I wasn't done watching the intro video. Okay.
I tried to produce it, and I wanted the audio to fade out, and instead I clicked the wrong button.
And you faded out my movie. Thanks.
John. I didn't even fade it out. It just ended. So
done. Well,
yeah, it was supposed to be click on the volume and then decrease it slowly, and instead I hit remove. So
wow, done. Dunzo. Nobody cares about Mike's love for that intro video. Man, you put a lot of effort into it, and I like watching it, and I like the song. And sometimes when I'm making coffee in the morning, I'm like, dun, 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 dun.
Thought you were gonna say making love, so I'm a little disappointed. When I'm making love, you're thinking of Drew McIntyre going, for you.
When I'm making love, Matt, I think of our Red Wings rant song. That's my go-to. That's more appropriate. So, Matt, it is another week, and we're just a little bit closer to WrestleMania. Matt, everybody out there, literally everyone, all you guys out there, hello, hi, welcome. We're going to do another episode. Here we go. This is going to be a best for Hurt Business thing, which I think we disagree with. Man, it's going to be a WrestleMania attending. Not us, but we're going to talk about the attendance. We're going to discuss merchandise consuming. It's going to be an episode of the Brothers of Discussion. Yeah. We're going to talk everything from who's going to get the first entrance at WrestleMania. Man, this is the first entrance with humans in over a year.
Except
that's got to be Kane. Probably not, but he is a Hall of Famer. You never know. Matt, we're going to talk the end of the Wednesday Night Wars. Oh, a whole segment's got to die. Matt, it's roughly a third of our show. Cut. Yay. And then we're going to get you primed, wined, and dined for Stand and Deliver NXT style. Woo.
That is, we should maybe ask the fans. Is there a better name for our Wednesday Night Wars segment? Should we just call it the primetime wrestling wars?
Talking the shows that we like.
I like all of our early comments here. How about that wrestling coming from Brent? Wrestling plug.
Perfect.
It's gonna be Billy Kay.
Oh, wrestling plug. This guy gets it. This guy fucks.
Yeah,
love this guy.
This guy fucks.
Not a bad idea. I also want to hear Brent, who he thinks the first entrant at WrestleMania is going to be. Maybe
Just don't say Hulk Hogan.
Maybe it'll be John Cena in a big hot dog costume. Who knows? It could be anybody. But Matt, every week it's hot, it's spicy. Not this week so much in Michigan. It's cold again. Matt, how are things at the Casa de Eddie?
They're doing good. Yeah.
Well put.
I got new pizza tools this week. I got
Do you mean dentures to chew pizza better?
I might need those actually. I didn't have my nighttime. I have a mouth guard at night. I didn't wear it this week. One day, and I woke up and it felt like all my teeth were wiggling. It was so.
Do you wear a mouth guard every night?
Yeah. Every night.
Do you wear an eye patch too, so Eddie can't rake your eyes in your sleep?
I should. I just tied all the forks. I put them up above the cabinets so that doesn't happen.
You hide them in the electric sockets?
She got me again this week with
Stop putting your eyeballs by your kid's hands. What are you doing?
I'm just near her. I don't. She had a piece of cardboard and she was like, she's got it in her hand, so she's just going wah, and I was behind her and I'm like, I'm studying her and she right. Except this time it was in the right eye, so it wasn't in the old lefty. So she's mixing it up.
She's giving that one a break. She feels bad.
Okay. Brett, by the way, went with Doink the Clown. He will be the very first theme entrance we will get going into WrestleMania. I do like that conversation because I did hear the rumor that they're not going to do a kickoff show because they don't want to do some bullshit like, one of our favorite wrestlers like Buddy Murphy coming out and ruin everything. Could you believe that?
Man, I heard a really compelling case from one of our favorite productions. They said last year he didn't quite get his entrance. He didn't quite get his celebration. He didn't get his nightcap, thanks to how empty it was, right? He won the Royal Rumble. He won the championship, his first championship at WrestleMania. Matt, is Drew McIntyre the odds-on favorite to come out first? Get that big hero's welcome, huh? Maybe bookend a show with let him and Bobby mix it up, do a little tangoing, a little dancing, huh? And we get Drew as the first song you hear. The old bagpipes.
I like it. I think I'd need to take a look at what's split up between night 1 and night 2 because I don't think I could tell you right now off the top of my head. So I'm gonna. Nor
should you, Matt. It's okay if we don't know who's on night 1. Just wondered if you were on board with that decision.
Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense because he was our send off, right? Last year, and then we rolled right into Monday Night Raw.
Well, the other thing it would do is allow us to bookend the program with not King Booker. We're gonna give a bookend. No, we're gonna do Drew comes out first, and to close the show, let the women close it out. Give it to Bianca and Sasha.
This is interesting, by the way. I'm on e-wrestling news for the match card. It's a great source because it says the Hurt Business is banned from ringside for the WWE Championship match. All right,
banned or not invited?
So just
does that
MVP.
mean I don't have a ticket? Does that mean I'm also banned from ringside at WWE?
Yeah, we don't have matches either.
Banned.
No, so taking a look, Mike, I think it would be so WWE. To answer the question, to recap for everybody tuning in, what will be the first entrance? Night 1, Mike, includes, so you can pick a different match if you don't, if you feel like it. Night 1 includes the WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley and Drew. Beautiful. The SmackDown Women's Championship match, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, which I think everybody wants to end the night. Raw Tag Team Championship match, New Day versus AJ Styles. The Miz versus Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny could be the first. Or Mike Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Now, Mike, I've left off one match. One match from night 1. All right, do any of those matches feel a little bit more juicy than the WWE Championship match? Because I do like that pick, but I've got a better one, Mike. And it's so WWE.
I'm very excited to hear that, but Matt, my other choice would be Bad Bunny. Maybe he comes out with a whole bunch of bunnies, whole bunch of rabbits.
Oh my God, that would be. You know what? Yeah, if he came out with, I don't know what number is funny. Like, what's a funny number? Not 69. I mean, like people know the science behind saying, like, well, if you pick 6,852 bunnies, that's a funny number. There's people that know that. There's improv.
I want it. Well, I don't want it.
Funny number, but
I don't want it to be like a guy in a bunny costume. I want it to be like Japan, that island, the
Bunny Island,
Okunoshima, which is the home of Rabbit Island, and it's literally just a sea of fluffy friends. That's what I want.
So, Mike, the match I left off, and
yes,
anybody playing at home knows if they're looking at the match card right now. Mike, he's facing. I feel like Micah Domley right now, and his name.
All right, it goes without saying.
His name is Just Harvey.
Yeah.
Mike, he's facing Braun Strowman, and he is the son of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Shane McMahon, leading the way. First, could you imagine, like, if we're trying to sell, Mike, hear me out. I'm going to try and pitch this for real. We want to make Shane hated, right? And we're going to build up. Don't miss the first entrance. Could you imagine? Like, now Braun's going to come out, and we're actually going to want to see him kick the shit out of Shane McMahon. I'm doing a lot of Larry David right now, but hear me out. Listen. Listen. Mike,
okay.
Nobody wants this match at all, but you get it out of the way, and like this is going to be a quick one, right? I think we're all in agreement. We don't need to see Shane jump off the cage. Anybody who's excited for that, I'm sorry, you're insane. I just want this match over with.
You know what? I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. You know why? Because I was listening to how the sausage is made for Avengers Endgame, and they talked about they didn't know how to start the movie, and they said, well, the one thing we can't do obviously is kill Thanos. That's at the end, and they said, well, what if we did? So this is kind of that. You know what? Let's veer left. All right. So Shane McMahon is the first entrance, Matt. If he could just get nuclear heat, Matt.
Absolutely.
He could get Chernobyl heat. Chernobyl. Beasts would start growing extra arms and eyes. Matt, I want you to brainstorm. I'm going to give you a second here. I got my pitch ready. All right. We line the entrance ramp with a bunch of guys dressed up in silver spoon costumes. We have Shane come out of a gigantic trust fund document that unravels, and then he comes rolling out and rides a white horse down to the ring.
Can I tweak it?
Please do.
Everything you've done so far, but the horses are pulling a diorama of Shane McMahon in his childhood bedroom, and he has two action figures. One is Shane McMahon, and one is Braun Strowman. And he's in the middle of finishing the match, having Shane pin Braun Strowman, thusly playing out, of course, as we all know, the McMahons playing with their lovely, lovely toys, and that's how they get their WrestleMania matches. And I think that would be the biggest FU to wrestling fans. Again, Chernobyl level heat. Is it Chur? I say Chur. Is it Chur?
I say Chernobyl. I say Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. Chernobyl level heat. That's the way to do it. Like, that's the way that, you know, they always talk about blending reality with story. We all know that this is going to be a huge entrance. Take it away from fans. Take it away from pro wrestling fans. Because all you have to do right after that is say, it's a 2-minute match. Braun destroys Shane McMahon. But lift the cage. Have the cage take longer to lower and lift than that match actually lasts. And then just have Drew McIntyre come out next. Like, do how you wanted, but have Shane McMahon, like, build it up. Start tomorrow. Start on SmackDown. I guess if you're listening to the podcast, start tonight on SmackDown. Have them build it up. You have your very first entrance in forever, for the first time in forever. Pay Disney to use that song. I'm kidding.
Shane McMahon, he is the bane of the wrestling community. But, he is that creative muse. I don't think we could ever come up with an entrance as colorful as, for other wrestlers as we are for Shane. Like Drew McIntyre, what are you going to do? Line the ramp with a bunch of guys in kilts, and then, a hard breeze comes through and we see a bunch of tallywhackers on our return to live audiences.
And they all have little arms that are saluting Drew.
And then Drew turns to the camera. Hey, Peacock. Man, I'm gonna give you one. Segment. I'm gonna give you one more segment here. If you can, night one, pitch one more person. If you don't have one, that's okay. But if you got one more, this is fun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's tough because Shane really set the bar high.
I thought you wanted me. I thought there was another subject coming up. Like pitch another subject. Okay. All right, so one more. This you want me to be legit here because I think we had fun. But it wouldn't hurt to just go straight up pro wrestling, right? Like maybe Seth Rollins, since he's coming out with the Burn It Down. That would be fun. I mean, that's boring, right? But I think we'd all enjoy that. That's a hell of an entrance. He gets a lot of hate on Twitter, but the longer that I'm involved in pro wrestling Twitter and hockey Twitter and Red Wing Twitter, the more I realize that their opinions mean absolutely nothing. So it's just everybody delivering hot take after hot take, and they're all hot garbage. Give Seth Rollins the first entrance. I think that would be fun. And I will say this: anything but Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, because I want them to end the night.
Yeah, and I guess I don't want to be distracted by pomp and circumstance for that match. That's just gonna be some good old fashioned wrestling.
Bianca Belair is gonna have a fucking hot entrance. Like, I think it's gonna be amazing. I think there's gonna be something like popping. There's that. I won't be surprised when the whole stadium blows up. Like, it's gonna be amazing. Is that what were you talking about, Bianca, when you said that, or were you still talking about Cesaro and Seth Rollins?
No, I wouldn't mind if like Bianca had Cardi B come out and then they did like the WAPEST.
Wrestling. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Oh, if you don't know the song, Matt, fire it up on Spotify after this program's over.
Oh wait, she has a new one? I'm sorry, I thought this was a play on WAP.
It is a WAP. So I was going to do the WAP EST with Bianca. So the WAP.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought.
I know I went down a wild road there. Wild road, man. Just me and Mr. Toad on that one.
Wrestling plugs on board, by the way, with the Drew McIntyre entrance. We're gonna let's hashtag that. Let's see if we can get Drew to notice this. We'll tweet it out right now. Mike, you keep going. You're gonna bring up the next segment while I tweet at Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, slide into them DMs.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide into Drew McIntyre's DMs by sending out Tallywhacker Mania. Okay.
Make sure you find some helicopter gifs of that, Matt. All right, so I got another big question for you here. It's going to be a little bit shorter, and then we're going to move into the next one. Was there a winner in the Wednesday Night Wars? Because it looks like it's over. NXT has thrown up the white flag. They're going to Tuesday nights.
It's an easy answer, right?
Is there a winner?
I think AEW absolutely won, because if you talk about who had to move first, it's NXT. Who had the better ratings? AEW. Like, to me, it's an easy victory. Now, I think we got defined what those two shows are, and I think with all the all the shit that WWE gets for not focusing on pro wrestling, they give you that on Wednesdays. What AEW does is more
sports entertainment.
Yeah, it's more sports entertainment, and that's what the people want, and that they prove that with the ratings. So you could get angry at that comment. You could come back and say this is what AEW says they are. But when we watch the show, I think it's pretty obvious that one show focuses more on the wrestling in the ring, and the other is doing sports entertainment. Mike, one of my favorite things I've seen in pro wrestling just happened last night. And it was MJF opening up a bathroom door, and all of Inner Circle is standing there staring at him. I'm sorry. That's my favorite part. Like, that level of MJF and Jericho, this storytelling they've done, and the song and dance routines they've done, that is A+ pro wrestling to me. That is sports entertainment, all that mixed together. But ultimately, yeah, we had it defined what these two shows are over the length of time. And what we learned, again, just to restate it, was that people want sports entertainment more, and that's where AEW won. They won the Wednesday Night War. It is over.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned for my free time. It means another potential 2 hours every single week of another weekday gone, using that towards wrestling. 3 hours Monday, 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Wednesday, Thursday, mid-afternoon break, with little NXT UK, and then Friday, unwind with SmackDown. And then, God forbid, there's a pay-per-view on Saturday or Sunday, or both. So for us, the loser is clearly the audience because we just don't get a break. We don't get a break to let anything marinate. There's wrestling every 5 seconds. And I host a wrestling show with my brother. And sometimes I just want to talk to my friends. And I just want to do something. No, I'm fascinated to see how the ratings start coming through, Matt, because I'm pretty sure the people who are watching AEW and NXT are both those numbers. I think are going to go up because they were it's the same demo, right? I would almost, like those numbers are going to be identical. Maybe still lean a little bit more towards AEW, but I think that's the real winner there is AEW won, but what did they win? I don't know. I like the competition, and I'm kind of bummed it's over. So, Matt, I'm going to move on to something a little more fun because I happen to go on the WWE shop today. They've been blowing up my Instagram. They've been blowing up my Facebook with ads. And there's a new piece of wrestling paraphernalia that you can buy. You can't own it because you're only pre-ordering it. But, Matt, they've released a melted face Fiend mask for you to wear in front of your children. Now, I don't know if you're going to be jumping in line to do that. They tried to 3D Doritos it and only release a couple. So I think there's only a couple hundred that they're going to produce. Which brings me to my big question for you, Matt. Matt, one piece of wrestling paraphernalia. If you need a few minutes, that's okay. But one piece of wrestling paraphernalia, something you'd want to keep in a glass case in your house for guests. And then you would sit around and, get old and just look at it. And this would sum up your relationship, your love affair with professional wrestling. Matt, what would that piece be?
I wonder if I'm going to steal yours.
You better not.
Can I have Kane's mask from the 2001 Royal Rumble?
That was all I wanted, Matt. And now it's at your house.
It's fine. I'm sorry. You can come over and visit. Let me think of another one because for like the longest time, the 60-minute Iron Man match between HBK and Bret Hart was my favorite match ever, and I would watch that over and over and over. Go to YouTube maybe once a month and watch it, and it was sickening. And then I would try and recreate it on like all the WWE games. So maybe give me that WWF Championship belt that I can say this was the one that was won on at WrestleMania after the 60-man or the 60-man Iron Man match. All right, the 60-minute Iron Man match.
Well, it's not.
I mean, you obviously can't take Kane now. Like that would be such a boring segment. So you got to pick something else.
I got to pick my second choice.
What if you had to cut it down to like your pro wrestling fandom from the last 10 years?
Oh, from the last 10?
I'll give you a time machine because I'll give you time to think because I'm gonna use that time machine. I'm gonna go to WrestleMania 30 and cut off Daniel Bryan's beard, and then that's going in my case. All right, wrestling plug. He's got it. He wants Nakamura's fruit roll-up pants.
Oh, that was my other choice.
Dude, Mike's not going to be able to pull a single one out of his hat now. Wrestling plug. I can't remember if we did talk about this since you've been watching, but I actually came out in my wedding, came out to Nakamura's theme song and did the Nakamura dance all the way to our table. And looked like I got shot when we watched the wedding video because I shoot down to do the Nakamura. I don't know, like I almost called it the splits, but not. Yeah, but yeah, that does mean a lot to me. Anything Nakamura has done, anything he's got, I've got his book autographed around here somewhere. Mike, I'm gonna banter. Pretend I'm bantering for another 15 seconds, and you better have.
My two items.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I was also thinking like, oh, man, God, but I can't believe each of you took my favorite thing. I really want Vince McMahon's Tyrannosaurus Rex skull out of his office.
That's a good one.
But that's not really a wrestling memento.
And you really just want to take it from him because he's such a piece of garbage about it.
He doesn't deserve that beautiful treasure.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't mind something. I think the match that I go back to if I'm going to show somebody what wrestling is, it's like Mick Foley versus The Undertaker. And I watched Mick Foley fall through that cage. So I don't know. Like, I'm going to get a puppy, and I need to get a fence so the dog can't escape out into the street and get hit by a car. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to tear down the Hell in the Cell and put that around my house so the puppy can't get out.
Well, just make sure there's a bunch of thumbtacks on the other side, and he'll be. Do you have a separate? Does your fence go up to your neighbor's property, or is there a little alleyway in between the two?
I mean, I think it goes right. It goes right up against the side of the. I think right where the property lines are, because he's got like boats and stuff right over there.
You know, when we're growing up, there in movies, TV shows, all the time, everybody always had like an alleyway in between. Or I shouldn't say always, but that happened a lot. And everywhere I've been, I've always been up to the property line with the other person. I wish there were more alleys. Work done. We'd probably have more drugs in our body right now if there were more alleys where we grew up.
I was also thinking it might be cool to have like the bedpan that Stone Cold hit Vince with.
Oh my God.
It'd be really funny to have like a glass case with that bedpan in it and like the dent from Vince McMahon's head. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we're ready to move on. I stole your answer. Wrestling Plug stole your other answer. Do you want AJ's gloves?
Honestly, with like those two items, so with Kane's mask, I would have had it like in a glass case, like up on a little peg, so you could see it kind of at an angle with the like. I'd buy a new light to hang down to look at it, or Nakamura's fruit roll-up pants. I'd have them like when people buy a jersey and hang it up on the wall, I'd have the fruit pants there, and maybe like one of those strips too, so that like fruit flies don't eat the fruit roll-up, because it's sweet and red and juicy, but. Yeah, it's good stuff. Well,
this has been two fantastic segments. I don't even want to talk about NXT now, but we have that coming up. Mike, we should probably mention, since it's the title of the episode. Can
I throw something else at you? I got one more big question.
Yeah.
There's one of my favorite shows. Hopefully someday we can get them on here. Kaz and David Shoemaker. Shoemaker, a fantastic author for wrestling. And they talked about Daniel Bryan getting added to the championship match with Edge and Roman. And I just want to throw the debate your way and just hear your point, because they said, well, the match feels a little stilted, a little cold. Even with Edge, a promo master, even with Roman firing on all cylinders, it doesn't quite feel like the match has that massive WrestleMania feel to it. Maybe it's just because there's too much time between pay-per-views. Maybe it's a number of different things. I don't want to steal all the talking points. I want to give you a shot here. But Matt, do you think that Daniel Bryan was added to get some humanity into this match and a real, kind of underdog rooting interest? Or is it much simpler than that? And is it just they need somebody to eat a pin?
Yeah, it might be that. I just don't want to. Edge brings a lot of humanity. I just wonder if there might be an element too, and I know this hasn't been talked about a lot, but they mentioned it in the ring when they were riffing each other on promos. How much of it is it like we have to have Roman Reigns in the main event at WrestleMania? But these two really want to fight each other. I think if you could have picked anyone, like it could have looked more like we picked anyone. Does that make sense? This looks like Edge and Daniel Bryan want to get in the ring together, and they still have to keep Roman Reigns involved because he's the champion. Now, the reason this feels cold is because everything seemed to be coming up to some story involving Roman Reigns and stop me if this is what those other guys said, but it seemed like we were telling a story about his family, and now we're just getting away from that because it's just for the Roman Reigns story to continue and his family and being at the head of the table, we have to get this goddamn Royal Rumble winner out of the way. And Daniel Bryan's messing up Edge's chance at a Royal Rumble redemption story. And all of it, yeah, it's three individual stories, and one's half baked because it looked like we were going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and COVID got in the way. Or COVID continued to get in the way. Like, that would have been amazing. And Roman, I think, even addressed facing The Rock and said it's better that we let this marinate, which sometimes that doesn't work out. Sometimes when we want something, we need it then. If we wait too long on this, The Rock's going to be running for president, and there's no way that he's going to be wanting to come back to WrestleMania.
No insurance company is going to touch that.
Right.
Hell no. Yeah, I understood. Like, they brought up that point to say, maybe Daniel's in there to add a little humanity, but I really just think that Daniel Bryan, he's been on, Bray Wyatt has been on the Revenge Tour, and Daniel's been on the 3 Second Tan Tour, where he's basically trying to just get over every single person in the company, from superstars, fair and, large and small, anybody across the board. And I think that ultimately what he's going to do is, eat a lot of bumps to kind of protect Edge, eat a lot of bumps to make Roman look good, and eat a pin so that Roman doesn't officially, lose his title, but Edge gets a moment. He gets his moment after, his horrific injury. He gets to come back and celebrate at WrestleMania. So I think that's what's going on. I think Daniel is there on his 3 Second Tan Tour, and he's there to just get Edge over.
Yeah, I that's probably the long and short of it. But I there is still that element, though, like what you brought up initially. Like there's a lot of truth to that of it just feeling we feel a little distant. And some of that might just be there's no fans watching. Like, a lot of this feels like we're 6 feet back, right?
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? We got Mike, the Hurt Business. We mentioned earlier that the Hurt Business, according to e-wrestling news, isn't going to be allowed at ringside. Mike, there isn't a Hurt Business anymore. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander have been laid off by the Hurt Business. MVP has been adamant the Hurt Business is not done, which is good to hear from MVP. So this is two-sided, right? I was kind of hopeful just this identity, the idea of the Hurt Business would live on, and I got that. But we do have, like our good friend Neon Ghost pointed out, it wasn't really about the Hurt Business. It was about the success that we were seeing with Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander, and now that's gone. Mike, are we okay, or are we upset about Shelton and Cedric? Because I'm on the side that I'm okay right now. I'm feeling pretty good. I actually, if we can build the Hurt Business into something else with some other folks, I'm going to be pretty happy with that. And we even had our good friend Amy Dalton throw in Keith Lee being added. We've seen over the last week, oh my gosh, Ricochet being thrown in there. I think those all work out.
Oh, Naomi was another one.
Right.
People posed. Yeah, I'm not against Keith Lee and Ricochet getting prominent roles in a spot where they'd maybe win a match for once. Keith Lee, I don't know if he's hanging out with Aleister Black. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if it was COVID related or what, but he's just not there. Ricochet hasn't won a match since NXT.
Keith Lee, I think, was hurt.
Is he hurt? Because he had some really bizarre messages on Twitter that made it sound like he's wants to come back and he can't. They're pretty cryptic, but it definitely raised some eyebrows, and it wasn't like, oh, I'll be right back, guys, just finishing up the old rehab. It was kind of like, when they let me. So definitely some puzzling stuff there. I don't know. WWE kind of doubles down on the weirdest tag teams. Like, we're going to get to a point where Bob Roode and Dolph Ziggler are together longer than the Hurt Business, which I don't think anyone foresaw that group having the staying power past, what was a faction that carried Monday Night Raw for basically 10 months. It's fascinating. I don't know really why they did it. I do know that if they are away from MVP, I don't know if they started taking like Cody Rhodes acting school to start working on their promos because that's what the issue was before. It's three guys basically on the MVP coattails, and it's not to say nobody's ever been on the a manager's coattails before. Look at Brock Lesnar, right? But man, it really feels like these guys are going to be floating off into oblivion, into the sunken place.
I have put out there their last best hope is a SummerSlam match, a tag team match against whoever comes up with the Hurt Business. They take the tag title belts. I mean, think about like Keith Lee and Ricochet would be a pretty sweet tag team. Like the dynamics of what they both bring to the ring, and having like that last battle, to try and get over the Hurt Business. The only thing, it is going to come off a lot like the B Team. I remember watching Bo Dallas and I want to call him Henning. Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to call him his actual name. But yeah, Bo and Kurt. Jesus, I can't remember it after a second. Curtis Axel. Like they won the tag titles, but then they still fizzled out like we all predicted they would. So you're right. Like they have one last match, right? And it would be against whoever takes over on the Hurt Business, but then that's it. And the other thing too, Shelton's getting up there. This is more about Cedric Alexander, I think.
I'm gonna make some scary points here.
Let me check how old Shelton is too.
The best member of that team was Bobby Lashley. That team was basically put together for him to be a leader of a team, and get him over, right? MVP was the MVP of the group because he basically talked all three of those guys into our hearts. I don't think the pieces are greater than the sum. I think that one piece could definitely carry a lot of the sum. So while I'm not a huge fan conceptually of breaking them up, I kind of get it because it was, three guys on the coattail of MVP. And now if we're going to say maybe we could be adding Ricochet and Keith Lee, those are, I think, objectively two vastly more exciting, charismatic, and talented wrestlers than those two. Like the success that they've had in much shorter runs. I would say I think if they add those two, it could be one of the greatest factions of all time. Instead of this is a really cool idea, man. Remember when MVP made those guys relevant? Instead, it could be, wow, this could be like on the level of the Evolutions, the DXs, that kind of group. I don't think you had that kind of same ceiling with Shelton and Cedric.
And I think there is an opportunity too for Ricochet. I saw some pushback on that because he said no so many times. But if they change what the Hurt Business is about, like if Bobby Lashley is going to win this title, if he's going to hang on to it, and like at some point this faction's going to need to shift a little bit into not just being so hard, right? They're going to have some soft pieces because everybody's falling in love with them and they're buying the t-shirts. So where I'm going with this is with the softness comes heart, and with heart comes an opportunity to help a guy get back up. And if he's down, MVP reaches the hand out. Eventually, Ricochet is going to get sick of losing. Like the story's there. I think they've planted enough seeds, and the seeds have just been planted with Ricochet's terrible booking. You wouldn't even need anything to have happened before with the Hurt Business, but I think all of that mixed together, I think there's an easy way to tell the story that as the Hurt Business evolves, so too would Ricochet's view of who they are. And if it still takes a little bit, if there's a little bit of pushback and there needs to be some sort of negotiation between minds, right, of MVP and Ricochet, that there has been change and Ricochet needs to come to terms with that, then that's, you know what? That's probably more of a layered, in-depth, primetime worthy story than probably what they'll end up doing. But it'll work. Ricochet will work with them. And like I said, Keith Lee and Ricochet as a tag team, it's pretty sweet. Now, what would be amazing is a cross-brand Hurt Business. Something, like if they, it's one of those things, right? Like they have so much opportunity here with the Hurt Business, and I do want to get onto the Wednesday Night Wars, but I want to finish it off with like what really pushes this faction into like the upper echelon is when they pull in the Big E, right? Like when something like that happens and Big E's going to need, Big E would make like a huge pivot as to who he is as a character. But I don't know if I want that right now. But that's when you see two big main eventers in the faction and you really take notice and you're like, all right, this is it. This is a huge faction. I don't know if you always, if we've had enough factions where it's like there's the top guy and there's all the cronies underneath. But I mean, the greatest factions of all time, the Shield, DX, NWO, have had a lot of top guys at the top. And NWO, kind of too many guys.
Yeah, it did jump the shark for sure.
We're just going to run into everybody in the NWO as a main eventer. But even when it was Wolfpack, you had Lex Luger and Sting at the top. And Macho Man snuck in there every now and then. So it's like there were always championship guys at the top.
Yeah.
All right. So I wrap it up, right? I'm good with it. I think they'll, and at least with MVP backing it, I think it'll stick around and it'll still make an impact.
Yeah. I hope that our fantasy booking comes to fruition.
Right. If they do what we just said.
Hey, let's do the Wednesday Night Wars, man. It's our favorite segment every week. And then we'll round it out with, get you ready for 2 nights of NXT next week. But Wednesday Night Wars. Matt,
I'll say I had the worst show, and I will couple it with the idea that NXT is leading into 2 straight nights where there's like 6 different potential match of the year. So matches of the year. So it's fine, but it was still a pretty good night. So I say I could go first, and I'll give the nod to AEW. How about just in honor of the fact that AEW wins the Wednesday Night War?
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so number 3 for NXT.
Number 3.
Cameron Grimes rocking it to the moon, Mike. He gets a win over Roddy Strong. And this
hold on. Moment number 3? Not 1? Matt, defend yourself.
Well, you'll hear number 1. I've been pretty high on who actually is my number 1. And they did a great job telling her story. But this, all right, like, what did I just say? This was an off night for NXT, but NXT is so awesome. Their off nights are still pretty amazing. So it starts off with a great match where Roddy really looked like he was going to take it away. And Grimes pulls out a wristband with Undisputed Era on it. I really thought he had brass knucks. Oh. And Roddy takes him out and sees the wristband. And again, maybe I'm wrong, and I rewatched it. I had to rewatch it because I was like, did he take out brass knucks, or did he actually take that armband out? And he did have like the Grimes era, where he was taking over the Undisputed Era, and it was going to be Roddy and Cameron Grimes were just going to be a tag team going forward. So it could have been that wristband, but either way, it really threw Roddy off. Cameron got the win because of it. So it wasn't a clean victory, but I mean, this is a win that Cameron Grimes needed. And the funny part for me is like Roddy immediately turned back into Roddy Strong, or I shouldn't say that. He turned back into Roderick Strong because when he's Roddy, he could get wins. When he's Roderick Strong, he's building the rest of the roster.
Man, what a worker.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. And, before he joined the Undisputed Era. I had him written off as my, we used to spat him and I on Twitter. He wasn't the wiser to it, but I used to give him shit all the time. And I'm gonna go right back to it. Roddy, you fucked up, man. Pay attention. Get your shit together. But no, I don't hate Roddy anymore. But yeah, number 3 for me. Grimes going over. He needed the win, and it was just a fun match to watch. Recommend it. There we go. Mike, number 3 for AEW.
Matt, moment number 3 was a physical war between a 43-year-old man and a 47-year-old man. Matt, it was Frankie Kazarian and making his AEW debut, Christian Cage. Matt, all the moments of Christian over the years, not just the kill switch. He did some flying froggy splashes for us. He had some mat work. It was classic Christian. And a beautiful moment this week is Edge said, "I don't care what 3 letters he wrestles for. I'm just glad my best friend is happy."
Aw, he should have said those 3 letters. God damn it.
Put your balls on the table, Edge. Say some AEW. Yeah, it was, it wasn't moment number 1. I don't think it was the most electric match of all time. It was just there to be kind of a showcase to be like, I still got it, Doof, doof. It was like Stallone, and they don't call him First Blood anymore. Now they call him Rambo. So Christian, he looked like Rambo. He's still got it. I don't know what the future holds for him. I know that he wants to outwork everybody, and gotta say, not the character choice I would have made. I'm going to be a go-getter and grind them real hard. And gee willikers, am I going to put in some effort? Like, that's like, I get it. There's definitely a point to that kind of person, being in the ear of young people in the wrestling locker room to get them over. But is it as interesting as Orange Cassidy? Not quite for me, Matt. It's not my favorite gimmick of all time. So I'm going to put it at number 3, and maybe this angle of outwork everyone. Maybe it'll kind of evolve into, something with a little more flair to it. Moment number 2. What do you got for us from next Extra Time Wrestling? Unless you want to rib Christian as well for his wooden character choice. All right, I'll give you 60 seconds. Here we go.
I just didn't know. I'm surprised that it's your number 3 because you did you ripped into him pretty hard when we were discussing off air. So I'm shocked. I texted you and said, "Is this going to be your dishonorable mention?" Based on the reaction I got. So I'm kind of throwing you under the bus. I'm not gonna say what you said, but I did not watch the match, and I assumed that this would be one that you were going to rip apart. So this seems like it's more of a good feel because of what happened and less of the actual match that occurred. But I don't know if you want to rebut.
The character needs major work. Major work. To get me invested. I don't know if I'm there yet. Matt, moment number 2. That's what I'm going to leave it at.
All right. Number 2 for next Extra Time Wrestling as I pull it up. Mike, LA Knight wins the Battle Royal.
Yes.
I was pretty happy with that. I think it's a great pick. I think we all know that ultimately I want to see Dexter Lumis because him win the gauntlet match because storyline wise, Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis makes a lot of sense. You run into the storyline that you've been telling on NXT for months, I think we've also been begging for a long time for Dexter Lumis to get one of these pieces of gold in NXT, and that would ultimately lead to that. But Mike, this is so much fun because Dexter Lumis stood in the corner up until there were 3 guys left, and then he helped excuse me, Jesus, eliminate Bronson Reed and Cameron Grimes when the opportunity came up. I said, Mike, it was the smartest battle royal performance of all time. You either go into the battle royal, Mike, as Kane and eliminate 100 people and come out the victor. Oh, I'm sorry, you come out in second place, or you're Dexter Lumis. And you stand in the corner and have everybody else eliminate each other, and you end up in second place.
That's since CM Punk in 2013 when he took a nap on the apron for 90 minutes.
Right.
We see this kind of strategic, masterful performance. Beautiful.
So LA Knight, I think, got the victory that's going to help sell his character. He got that yesterday. If you're listening to the podcast Wednesday night. I don't think that it would be quite a build for him to get that and then win the gauntlet match. If I look at it right now, and we're gonna get into NXT, I still think there's a pretty good shot. I'm gonna get my Victor. I'm gonna get Dexter out of that. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah, but that was my night number 2 for the Wednesday Night Wars on NXT. Mike, you're number 2.
Number 2, I don't think it's a spot that I would have expected to rank this high. It was just so damn entertaining, especially after what opened the show. But we'll say that the Bunny of Butcher Blade and Bunny teamed up with Nyla Rose against Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti. Matt, Conti was on effing fire in that match. Her hot tags were steaming. They were sizzling. I don't think, if you've only seen her in NXT and you're like, what's all the hype about? She is leaps and bounds more advanced than when we last saw her in NXT. I would have released what she was working with at that time as well. But she's really developed the hell out of her technique. Her knee strikes are violent. She's got a whiplash with her own head when she does it to really sell the extra oomph into the people that she's got, stacked in the corner turnbuckles. Incredibly, in a match that featured, the character work of Bunny, Hikaru Shida, the effing champion, who's, one of the best women, female wrestlers in the world, and Nyla Rose, who the past couple weeks, since we had that tournament in AEW, she's had a couple, one-on-one skirmishes. She's kind of turned into one of the MVPs of the women's division over there. They keep putting her in matches with Shida, and they have just excellent chemistry. But yeah, Nyla helped get Ty over, and it looks like they're actually building a star. She looks like somebody who could actually contend for championships. And unlike what they've, been doing with Shida with, basically a 30-day build, and, build is a strong way to put it because, they've just kind of force-fed competitors to her in a style I can only describe as musical chairs. It feels like she might have a new foe eventually in Conti. So it's very exciting to see. And she's definitely worthy, based on her performance on Wednesday, be a part of the list this week. And Matt, that brings us to the dishonorable mention. Matt.
Oh, shoot. You know what? That's right. And I completely forgot to prepare for that.
Oh.
All right. Let me.
The last NXT of on a Wednesday, Matt.
Yeah, that's true. So I gotta pick one. Okay. You know what? Let's do 2 just to catch up, right? For all the times I didn't pick a dishonorable mention.
We are at 54 minutes, man.
Okay, Xia Li should not struggle so much to need Catanzaro's eyes to have goo spit into them for Xia to get the victory. And Escobar and Tyler Breeze was just kind of a let's fill out the match card thing. All right, so Mike, number 1 for NXT was Raquel Gonzalez and Zoe Stark going at it. So Zoe Stark makes my top 3 for like a straight month, probably. I think is if we go back and take a look at the numbers. This was the match where she lost, but she came out strong. So this just means that they're really invested in Zoe, or else they would not have given her the time of day. And Raquel, like this is such a great story in this match because I still get to walk away as a Zoe Stark fan, seeing that she used Raquel's size against her and tried to chop down the tree, as we've seen before, like with the likes of Daniel Bryan. And on top of that, they did a great job of making Raquel look strong by having one big move be the thing that took down Zoe Stark. So it was a great opportunity to show off the power of Raquel, and it was a great opportunity to show just how smart Zoe can be in the ring and using her athleticism, which I think is probably what puts her at the top of, I don't know how I want to put this, every woman who hasn't been in like a number one contenders match yet. Like she's the number one person on that list, and it's probably a short list, but she's easily jumping into that conversation. No, like it won't be an issue. So for me, it was just great storytelling. It was probably the best wrestling we got of the whole night, and I do like when they tell that story of this wrestler actually is smart. It's fun to see. Mike, dishonorable mention for AEW.
In an unprecedented move, Matt, I'm editing my list. Moment number 3 was the Inner Circle attacking from the toilet. It was funny, and we got to hear a stinky toilet joke. And Matt, dishonorable mention, I'm giving it to Christian. I can't get on board with that character. I'm out. I'm not going to outwork everybody. It's dishonorable. You're out. All right. Matt, unprecedented move. Never done it before. All right. I feel like better. It's off my chest. I had that Christian Cage. Ugh. I had this growth on me. Now it's gone. I feel free. Matt, moment number 1. It was the funnest match of the night. And incidentally, the most violent match of the night, because Kip Sabian had to eat a powerbomb onto a pile of Legos. Matt, as the father of a child, you'll be stepping on your fair share of Legos here very shortly. I can imagine, the just ear-splitting screams you would, share with the world if you were to get powerbombed onto little yellow, blue, and red bricks. We had wrestlers flying through arcade cabinet games. We had them flying through air hockey tables. And probably my favorite part was Tony Schiavone having a pop ski because Chuck E. T. went to go get a kendo stick. And much like when you go to the arcade or Chuck E. Cheese, you can't just get one. You got to spend tickets. And Schiavone kept having a pop ski because he's like, kendo sticks cost 20,000 tickets. He couldn't even get the joke out because he's laughing so hard. But really loved, the best friends getting back together. Trent was back after getting, demolished by Miro, about a month or so ago. Sue came back. Trent's mom dropped him off in her van and gave a big thumbs up to everybody. And most importantly of all, the woman I thought was going to lead this division before she had that awful knee injury, Matt Statlander from another galaxy. She is back. She made a return coming out of a claw machine, straight out of Toy Story. Did some damage on Penelope Ford. I'm so excited. I didn't realize that I needed. I don't know what's going to happen to Miro. That's going to be a whole other story. But
yeah,
for one night, I'm very excited for the best friends. I'm very excited for Statlander. I was a huge mark for her. I'm excited to mark out for her again. That's easily moment number 1. Now, we got to dive into a 2-night NXT event next week, Matt.
Yeah.
Woo! We got a lot going on. What do you got the card for us on night 1?
Yep, night 1. So this is next Wednesday. So this would be normally before we record anyway. You've got the gauntlet match of Leon Ruff, Swerve, Reed, Grimes, Loomis, and LA Knight. We've already referenced that match. Let me pull this off. Here we go. We've got the NXT Championship match. MSK versus the Grizzled Young Vets versus Legado del Fantasma. Mike, if this isn't the Grizzled Young Vets, I don't know what we're doing right now because this.
How hard do I have to cheer and tweet these guys?
Right, like this, a big element here. This is a vacated title, of course. Lorcan and Birch lost them because of the injury. So I think when you do that and you have to improvise, you give it to the team that does the best promos. and it's easily the Grizzled Young Vets. I think if MSK gets it, we're gonna have to listen to a lot of goofy face promos and a lot of "you guys are stupid," which is fine. But Grizzled Young Vets hold the titles, and it's gonna be a whole nother level. And then you've got Walter and Ciampa and Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez ending the night, and they really built that up on NXT too, because Io had quite a few segments in NXT, including ending the night and getting one over on Raquel. So I think we could be seeing Raquel taking over against Io. So you want to? We could, based off that, I think I gave away a couple of matches already. Do you want to hit on anything else on night one?
I think for the NXT Tag Team Championship, we are such huge fans of the Grizzled Young Vets. I still keep combing the WWE shop, and I'm just hanging my head because there still isn't a T-shirt worthy of my money. Legado, I don't quite have the attachment to, so there's a pretty high likelihood they're going to win to try and get them over. And MSK, it feels like they kind of had their, they had their pop. They won the tournament. So they might just be the baby faces chasing. So I knowing that Grizzled Young Vets are fascinating enough without any gold, and just listening to, our beloved Zach Gibson, and soon to come up short once again in a tag team title match. It's going to be him. It's going to be James Drake, just coming up short a little bit. Matt, I'm sorry. It's Legado. They're going to win, and I'm going to be sad, but it won't matter. Nobody cares about my happiness in NXT.
Well, I think the match of the night, because I think Io Shirai and Raquel will tell a great story. But I do think that, like, the match with Raquel and Zoe, like I mentioned, like, they gave Zoe a lot of opportunity, and Raquel had to come in with the power to take her down. I think it could just, I said this last week, I don't think Raquel has it yet to put in the 5-star, the 16 hot dog match. So I think it's going to be a good story, and I think Raquel's going to go over, but I think the match of the night is going to be Walter versus Ciampa. I think Walter's been dealing out, the match of the night, match of the year for the last couple of years. And I can't imagine a one with Tommaso Ciampa is going to be any less. And Walter's also going to be going through like an NXT UK championship match. So I'm actually, now I think about it, that might be happening on Thursday. So if this is Wednesday, we're guaranteed to see Walter win, I think.
Walter has arguably like the best booking since like early and very late career Undertaker, where it doesn't really matter what else is on the line. As long as Ciampa survives knife edge chops from Walter, it's a victory. As long as he gets up after the match, every capillary in both of his pectorals completely exposed and oozing blood, he is considered a winner. It doesn't matter if he eats a pin. If you survive the match with that shaven, evil German bear, then you've won. You've made an accomplishment in your career. Matt, I am so looking forward to this match, because if there's one thing we know Ciampa likes to do, it's take punishment. If there's one thing we know Walter likes to do, it's giving out punishment. So I think we're definitely going to be getting a lot of both of those people's, top qualities in a wrestling ring. Of the night, I'm most excited for that match.
And NXT UK Prelude is 4:00 the next day. So Walter and Rampage Brown going at it. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for Ciampa to go over. But I 1,000% believe that they could throw a swerve at us and have Ciampa show up to that match, which would be insane, because I don't know if they're actually filming it in the UK or what the hell's going on there.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I will say the one match that I guess the only reason it bums me out is because I don't really want to see any of these guys lose at this point of their career. I'm sorry, Reed, Swerve, and Ruff, I'm not sold on yet. But Cameron Grimes, just give him everything. Just whatever he wants. Give him a blank check. Just let him win all the matches. He's hilarious. Matt Loomis, he's also not long for this NXT world. He's going to get called up and be some menacing presence on Raw. And LA Knight is so charismatic. There's no reason for him to be in a mid card. It's just it's so below him, but he doesn't mind. He's just going to be a salesman for it and get the whole match over. I don't want to see any of those three gentlemen lose, and I'm going to have to do it. So I don't know what to make of that one either.
Yeah, so night 2, if you want to jump into that. It's going to be, I guess, right after NXT UK Prelude, so I guess that makes sense. Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, another one that it's like when you're trying to count how many match of the year matches there are, you throw that one in there. NXT North American Championship, Johnny Gargano versus whoever wins that gauntlet match. So I'm thinking Loomis. Mike, you're thinking Cameron Grimes. And the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin. That one to start. I really want Jordan Devlin. I do think that Santos Escobar is going to take it, and Devlin's going to go back to the UK and try and get into an NXT UK Championship match. Like, Devlin is amazing, but they need to sort out the story with the Cruiserweight Championship. This is the best way to do it, and they're both great talents, and I think this is another one that has match of the year juice to it. But yeah, this is going to be Santos Escobar, and we do have to throw out too. They added last night Shotzi and Ember Moon versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell for the NXT Women's Tag Titles. I'd throw that in there too. Is going to be another one that's going to be hot and juicy. I think with that, let's settle it down with passing around the title. We'll pump the brakes and we'll let Ember Moon and Shotzi hang on to that one. But it'll be a hell of a match.
Absolutely, let them retain. I will say the one I'm going to make a left turn on you here is I do think that there's a pretty good chance that Johnny Gargano drops that belt to LA Knight. I think if they're going to make him toil around on NXT for a while, or maybe that's his choice, maybe he doesn't want to be part of the big circus on Monday, get lost in the shuffle. Maybe he wants to be the medium-sized fish in the small to medium-sized pool. Yeah. But I know that Johnny Gargano likes getting guys over like that, and I think he would definitely want to help, a guy who's, almost 40 now, finally getting a shot under, the Vince McMahon paychecks. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the night, kind of take over a little bit. I think NXT needs a few guys who are mouthpieces, who can get on the stick and sell a story. We have so many freaking guys work great. And I get the value in it. I do. But we are watching pro wrestling. It is a soap opera. We do need characters. Yeah. And I don't think there's anybody more characterly right now than the LA Knight. Maybe Cameron Grimes is coming for that, but for some reason they don't prioritize necessarily him winning. And he's such a great taunting little devil on your shoulder. Maybe he doesn't ever need to win. But to get over the new blood, Matt, I want to see LA Knight topple Johnny Gargano. So I'm basically making 2 predictions in one shot. Matt, for Jordan Devlin, I think you're right. I think he's going across the pond after this match. It's going to be fine. He's not going to win. That's going to be Santos all day. Balor and Kross. That's a tough one. Balor's basically been holding up his end of the bargain. Kross, they tried to strap the Cameron Grimes moon rocket to him, and he immediately got injured. Yeah. But it's the poetic justice that Finn Balor also was going to have a Cameron Grimes style moon rocket, and he immediately got injured when he won at SummerSlam against Seth Rollins. So definitely kind of fun to see these two guys, kind of come full circle. This is a really hard one for me to pick. I would like Karrion Kross, but I don't know. They've built Balor up so much, and if he comes out in the war paint, might be Balor again.
Yeah, I agree with that. They've done such a good job, not just with building Balor, but they've told a great story too, where he's told Karrion Kross why he's going to lose and why Balor's been so successful. So it just, I want to believe that. And I think there's an element to that, when you see that happen in movies and television, that you need it to happen and you need to see Karrion Kross, he either has to grow in the match where Finn said you can't let your emotions get the best of you. So something might happen to Scarlett, and then he's just gonna have to let it go. But if he doesn't, they should show like how that makes the difference, and that's how Finn gets the win. I think ultimately, like they've done such a good job starting that, and then also reminding us of it, that if it doesn't play in, it's kind of silly. So with that, I don't know if they need to even get away from Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, that they could have something end where the battle will continue, and I would be so happy with that, because Kross has been doing great work. So just keep putting him in NXT championship matches if he's not going to win them. That comes to Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, Mike. Something I think ultimately you got to give to Kyle. I think Adam has won everything that has been huge since he's come around. This would be an opportunity to throw Kyle into another, stratosphere. I think it makes sense, but there's also that element where it's like, well, Adam Cole is Adam Cole. So he's going to go tell a story as a solo guy after this, and it's not going to help with him starting with a loss, where Kyle could still go off for a little bit, take a little nappy poo and wait, and build up Red Dragon as a tag team. Maybe you go to the main roster with Red Dragon. If you guys go to our YouTube channel, that was one of my options for post Undisputed Era. What happens? So Cameron Grimes did one of them. He tried to restart the Undisputed Era. So it makes sense that if Adam Cole's not going to AEW, there's one option left, and that's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish heading to the main rosters. Red Dragon.
This is another really tough one to pick, Matt, because I don't know if in a match like this you necessarily want to see the babyface go over, and that's going to be Kyle.
Right.
I do think that gives Adam Cole the advantage. Because he can use violent heat to get over, and Kyle can look good coming back out with a limp, maybe with the big get the tape on the shoulder, and get his revenge against Adam Cole. And I gotta say, it's not necessarily any fault of theirs that I'm not a little bit more excited for this match. It's just I know that it's the Infinity War, and there's still going to be an end game. So I know that there's going to be, a couple more iterations of this match, and this is going to be just round one. And I feel like it's going to be Adam.
So take Kyle out, so it doesn't get the next part of the story doesn't get told for a while, I think.
Yeah, right? Like Adam's going to turn him into dust, I think.
Ooh, like that. All right, Matt's finishing up doing some business on this side so that it's easier for him to go to bed. Once we're done recording. But yeah, with that, I actually like this. I think this is like the model we should adopt going forward, because we're going to have to run through WrestleMania like this. And we go bottom to top. It's so boring. I think people tune out, and this kind of feels like we're just giving hot takes left and right. I like it. Anything else you want to touch on, Mike, before we head off into the sunset?
Outwork everyone is so fucking boring.
Look, I made my play on Christian when he was the big surprise.
And you know what? Nobody has sent me a single photo of a Peeps t-shirt that they own. So I win. I was right all along.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you start to think about it, and I'm Mike, are you a better person because we honestly are critiquing this and we see it for what it is, and it wasn't as exciting as they built it up to be? Or is it better to be the person that just enjoys everything? And Christian comes out, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to pro wrestling. I'm a huge fan of Chris Stratlander, but her coming back wasn't like my life changed. But for some people on Twitter last night, Mike, I read it. Their lives changed last night. They were screaming at the TV. That wouldn't have been me, and I'm probably her biggest fan. I don't know. She's my favorite. She's my favorite wrestler, and I've been saying it since she had her debut on AEW. Like,
Yeah.
I love what they were doing with her character, and I wish there was more storytelling, not on YouTube, but on actual AEW. And it wasn't life changing for me, but it's just one of those things. Like, does everything is it better to be the person that's honestly critiquing something, or is it better to be just always absorbing happiness and everything is the greatest thing that's ever happened? I just think, Mike, when you and I get to actually experience the thing that's the greatest thing that ever happened, I think we get to enjoy it more, because the person who looks at everything is the greatest surprise. Everyone's the greatest wrestler. Every match is the greatest thing to happen to Wednesday nights. It's the greatest thing to ever happen to pro wrestling. How, like, it's never gonna feel. They never get that burst that we get. Like, we are down, Mike. We're below sea level right now. We're closer to Satan right now than Lil Nas is. Like, we're.
Ooh, I do want those. I do want the shoes with blood in them. Those are pretty cool.
That was so cool. Man, what a fucking troll, right? Like,
look at they're not connected at all. When I watch AEW, right, and I watch a Christian match, I watched one now, and I'm just, it's fine. I get it. He's very good at what he does. I don't think there's a lot of feathers and sparkle to it, but you know who else doesn't have a lot of feathers and sparkle? Pac. I think Pac is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. His strikes are amazing. We know what a physical, specimen he is. He does, incredible moves off the ropes, turnbuckles. His bastard heel character is just one of a kind. And that guy for me is a legend, right?
Right.
Christian, it's not for me, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it and just walked away like, wow, incredible. Like, I will watch a Pac match and I'll just shake my head like, man, I can't believe this is a human being. Like, he and I share the same DNA, and look what he does, like, in a wrestling ring. It's incredible that we're both Homo sapiens. It's insane.
Like, how far we are from his athletic.
Yeah, like, I feel that way every time I watch Ray Phoenix, and like Shivani said, he's like my proxy. Shivani will be like, I run out of words for this guy, this man. He's just a word. He's just incredible. Nobody else can do things that he does in a ring. Makes you think of a young, dare I say, Mysterio. And those are two guys who are incredible. And, I still put Pac above Ray. Ray does, more physical things, but I don't know if the promo works there. That's where I put Pac. And is it fair to compare Christian with those guys because they wrestle different styles? And I think it is. If you're going to bill him as a legend, I'm like, I'm not going to sit back one day and, have the children gather around and tell them stories about a very vanilla Christian cage match. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. There.
And I think it's important too that we mention that this is how I think we felt before he got hurt. So him coming back to wrestling, we realized that there's some catching up to do, but it's Christian.
I'm not saying like this version of him is, broken. I'm saying his whole career, I never cared. It's very admirable to come back from injuries like he has, but I would rather watch EC3 at any time. And he was another guy who was huge in Impact, Ring of Honor, stuff like that. And
you're not saying like I would rather watch EC3, like as someone might say.
No, I just would never say.
Right.
I would never go out of my way to watch a Christian match unless it was, a tag team match and Edge was involved, and the Dudleys and the Hardys were involved. It wasn't because of Christian. He's easily number 6 on that totem pole for me.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch with these big fans of his and, look at them, and obviously I won't be able to tell because they don't own a Christian shirt, but I want to hear, their bleeding hearts for this guy. I never saw it. What did you see? Send me footage of you popping for one of his convoluted, kill switches. Hope you got your backpack on. Looks like you went to the library and got too many Britannicas. Oh no! I'm not a part of that life.
I know this is just turning into a rail into Christian. Mike, that has got to be the worst finisher in pro wrestling. It looks like it never is working the way it's supposed to. It looks like he always lets go.
The worst part
make
was
it work.
Kazarian last night. They had to do some false finishes, so Kazarian had to keep going, oh boy, putting on my backpack. No, not. And then he would just bounce off the ropes. It's it does.
All right. We got to stop because we could go all night making fun of Christian, but it's the thing, right? Like,
you know what? The RKO out of nowhere, the kill switch, it's going nowhere. Not a fan. Don't get it.
All right, that's actually a great way to end the show. Everybody, check out BODpodcast.com, brothersofdiscussion.com. We're at BOD Podcast on Twitter, at brothers_of_discussion on Instagram. Find us on YouTube. If you are, let's say you just heard that Christian Cage rant, and you're like, these guys make a lot of sense. You hit that subscribe button. It's right underneath Mike. I think it's time we say a lot. Oh, no, Mike, we have to announce our first match for the Wrestling Match Book Club.
Oh, man, it's going to be an Iron Man match between Christian Cage and a bottle of mayonnaise, right? No?
I don't think you know how the Wrestling Match Book Club works. We're going to watch old matches.
Oh, okay.
So for everybody who has not yet joined up, what you need to do is go to bodpodcast.com, click on the wrestling button. You'll find the link to the Wrestling Match Book Club. We're also sharing links on Twitter and Facebook all the time, so you can click on those as well. But you'll get an invite to the Discord personally from me, so it's not instant when you click on the links and fill out the form, because I actually need to create a new link and send it to you. Oh, excuse me. But oh my God! So the first match, Mike, do you want to?
You say it beautifully.
Remember?
You're already
WrestleMania 17, hardcore title, Kane, Big Show, and Raven. One of the greatest hardcore matches of all time. We're gonna start there because it's WrestleMania. We got to start with Kane. He's going in with the Hall of Fame, baby. And This is the Brothers of Discussion. So we're going to start there. We're going to tell a great story. I would implore everyone to obviously watch the match, probably watch it more than once, get some background on what's going on with the story, and then, keep an eye out for some little Easter eggs throughout that match as well. So that if you guys are listening right now, get set. Get your Peacock subscription and then watch WrestleMania 17, Kane versus Big Show versus Raven for the hardcore title. All right. Glad we got that out there. Once we get everybody into the Discord, we'll figure out a good date for everybody to chat. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Toodaloo.